Hey, Lauren here from Honest Reviews, and today we are doing a head-to-head wireless earbud comparison, the Apple Airpods versus the Anker Liberty Air. Okay, so when it comes to wireless earbuds, there are a ton of options out there. Obviously, the Apple Airpods are like the most well-known. You see them everywhere, but they are so expensive. This is the new version with the wireless charging case, which is very cool, but it's $200 US. Now, Anker is known as being a really solid brand. We use a lot of their products. We're never really disappointed. And they came out with these Liberty Air, which look very similar. They still kind of have that same look, but they are way cheaper. Right now, they are $80 US for this version. It does not have the wireless charging, but it's still like wireless earbuds. We even got these on a lightning deal, so it was more like $60 US. So way, way cheaper. Can they hold up? We are going to look at them head to head now. Okay, so for starters, I'm going to take these out of the box so you can actually see what they look like. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Obviously, AirPods here and the Liberty Air over here. So in terms of size, you know, the AirPod case has it beat. In terms of like build quality, obviously, like no one really beats Apple. So it looks nice. It's very, very sleek. It's, you know, it's an Apple product versus a much cheaper one. This case is not bad. I mean, it's still very small. It has that like Anker mat that they've been using that I find just shows fingerprints so much that I'm not a huge fan of. But, you know, it's not terrible. One thing that's actually I really like about this case over this one is that even though it's a little curved, it can still stand up, which like that's how I usually put it down. And this one, obviously, it doesn't. It's completely curved on the bottom. So that one's meant to lay down. I think that's a little weird, but that's just me. That's Apple design. You can see on the bottom here, here's our charging. The Apple is USB-C, very nice. This is micro USB, kind of disappointing. Maybe they will update these and get a USB-C one, but that's what it is right now. So in terms of opening them up, you open this one up and you have these 3 LEDs on the front that give you an idea of battery charge. The Apple one, it just pops open and you just have a little green light to show that it's like pairing. Both of these are kind of like magnetic closures, so it doesn't like clip in, it's just magnet. And then there's sort of magnetic inside here so that they don't fall out, and that's the same with both of them. It also helps when you are putting the earbuds back in, it helps it kind of like snap in really easily. They both do that. So that's like just a nice little kind of user experience thing. So obviously there are some big, big differences between this. Let's get into it. The AirPods, they have the wireless charging. Right now, Apple does not have the charging mat that they promised, but other things do. I mean the charging mat that will do everything, but any Qi wireless charging mat that's like, you know, the right specs will charge these, and you just put it down. These ones, you have to plug it in. In terms of playtime, 5 hours, 5 hours listening time. They have the same listening time, but this charger will hold more. So this one is 24 hours with the case charging them. This one is 20 hours. So 24 hours, 20 hours. Slight difference there. You get more charging when you're using the case with this one, but the 5-hour listening time is about the same. One of the biggest differences is definitely the design of the earbuds themselves, since the cases are very similar. And this is sort of the big, huge issue with Apple earbuds. So this is what we're looking at. This is the Apple earbud. It is their standard design, flat on the edge. And if it doesn't fit your ears, you're out of luck because there's nothing you can do about it. You can buy like third-party things to stick on there, but it won't fit in the charging case. So that's really kind of finicky. You have to take them on and off. This one is the very like more universal approach. There's these little soft rubber tips or silicone tips, sorry, And there are a bunch of different sizes that come with it. I think there's like 5 different sizes, so that you can really make sure it fits your ears. My ears will hold the AirPods decently. Like they will stay, but I would be really nervous doing any sort of exercise or running, or if I was outdoors, I would be nervous that I would like bump something and it would fall out and I would lose it, especially at this price. These ones, when they're in my ears, they're not going anywhere. Like they're really in there. I even sort of have 2 differently sized ears, so I use 2 different sizes of these, one on each one, to make sure they fit each ear perfectly, which is something you just can't do with this. And that is, I think, one of the biggest differences about these. With this, you have more sound isolation, so it makes a tighter seal in your ear. You can hear the music much, much better, I think. Maybe not much, much better, but much better. You can hear the music, especially for me, these don't fit super tight, so I have a lot of it's not a tight seal. If you're in an environment where you need to hear what else is going on around you and you don't want to be really, really isolated from the sound around you, these might be tricky. And I mean, it's kind of a weird reason to choose these, but these will have, depending on your ears, a little bit more ability to hear what's going on around you. You can wear just one of these at a time with both of them, so that's always an option. Now, pairing these is obviously, it's Apple, it's super duper easy. You just kind of open the case and a little thing pops up on your phone and you press connect, and then you're done. Every time you open the case and take them out, they pair automatically, so it's a very seamless experience. Personally, I had a very seamless experience with the Anker ones as well. It's more like you have to go into Bluetooth and click on the Liberty Air to connect to them, but every time I open the case and I put them in my ears, it connects and I can just start listening. And that's with 20 different things connected on my phone because I'm testing a bunch of stuff. And so far, I haven't had any problems with either of them in terms of connectivity. I have read that some people have trouble with the Anker ones, but Anker will replace them for you if you are having trouble. There's the Anker 18-month warranty that you really should take advantage of if you find these aren't working, because they're really good about that. So now let's talk about just kind of using them. The AirPods with these new ones, the version 2, when you put them in, they have motion sensing so that they know you've put them in and they'll start playing. You take one out and that's pause. That's how you pause. So that's kind of useful. If someone's talking to you, you just take it out, it pauses your music. If you just want to pause your music while you're listening, you have to use your phone. You can change the double tap functionality in your phone. So I do believe you could change it. But right now I have this one goes forward 1 track, this one goes back 1 track, and you just double tap on them. And that's how you use the tap functionality. With the new ones, you can also now say, "Hey Siri," instead of needing to tap for Siri. So Siri's always listening. I mean, I don't use Siri a lot because I find it's kind of finicky, and it is still the only way to change the volume without using your phone. You have to say, "Hey Siri, turn up the volume." It did work. She heard that, but I don't like having to talk to turn up the volume. So that's too bad that you still can't change the volume with these while you're just wearing them and not accessing your phone. In terms of music, they sound fine. It's not, the best sounding earbuds on the market, obviously, but it's very, very decent. I did find that the double tap to change things was it wasn't really sensitive. I kind of had to tap pretty hard and I had to figure out exactly where and exactly at what speed. And even then it sometimes doesn't work. I don't know if that's just me. I just found it kind of finicky. It wasn't as sensitive as I thought it would be. One thing I did find with the pause thing is that I'd take one out and I'd put it down on my desk. And if I left it for a little while and then put it back in my ear, it wouldn't actually resume playing. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. The take one out to pause and play thing, I think is a neat idea, but I do find that there can be some situations where it's actually more finicky than you'd want it to be. The battery level for these and the case are viewable on your phone. So that's really handy. It's, you know, obviously easy to charge. You can charge with USB-C or with the wireless mat. You know, these are AirPods. They look good. They make you look cool and fancy. But I'm still kind of annoyed because they fit one of my ears better than the other, but not both great. They're comfortable to wear. I think like these ones being so in ear, so sealed, they do tend to get a little bit more uncomfortable for me over long periods of time, but I do have sensitive ears, so that might be just me. Anyway, that's kind of the rundown on these. Again, the price on these is $199 with this wireless charging case. You can get them a bit cheaper at $159 US if you don't have the wireless charging case. All right, so back to these. When you're listening to them, the sound is really great. I definitely found like the music sounded better, but I couldn't hear anything around me, which might be what you want. In terms of gestures, okay, so there's double tap to play or pause, and then there's tap and hold to go forward, tap and hold to go backward. I think this one is double tap for Siri. And then there's lots of different tap functions for voice calls. So both of these do voice calls. Both of them have like tap functions when you're in a voice call. This one has so many. I think it would take a while to figure it all out and memorize it, because there's like end the call and get the next call, or hold the call and get the next call. There's a ton of stuff you can do. It's all in the instructions. So if you are thinking of using these for phone calls, you can figure that all out, and that's handy. And it does have a little bit more tap sensitivity for like pause and then forward and backward. These don't stop playing when you take them out of your ears. So that's one big difference between these and the AirPods. Both pairs will stop and turn off when you put them in the case, and turn on when you take them out of the case. So that's kind of the same functionality both ways. These have the 18-month warranty from Anker. Like I said, so if they stop working, you know you're protected. I think with the Apple, it's the standard 1-year warranty, and then maybe you can buy an extended one or Apple Care or something like that. Okay, so I felt these were great sound. They are comfortable. They're very lightweight, so when you're wearing them, you don't really notice them. Depending on the fit in your ears, it might be a little like tight at first, but you definitely just kind of forget that they're there, in a similar way with the AirPods. One thing I did find, and I'll show you, is that these ones do tend to stick out more. So the AirPods are quite flush, like that, and these ones do tend to be out a little bit further, if you can see that. But not in any way that I like really notice it. This one feels like more secure. This one feels like it's kind of hanging out of my ear, and if I were to just do that, it falls. Both of them fall, I guess, but this one feels like it's gonna fall. This one doesn't feel like it's gonna fall. When you really put it in there, like twist it in, this one is definitely more secure for me than this one, which I just can't get it much more secure than just resting in there. And then there are the people who just don't have the right shape of ear. Like Rob puts these in and they just immediately fall out of his ears. They don't stay in at all. I'm like close, but my ears are different sizes, so I can sort of use them, but not really, really well. I wouldn't want to run or anything. And Rob, they just like fall right out of his ears. So you definitely don't want to spend the money on these unless you know for sure that they're going to stay in your ears and you're not going to lose them. One thing about these that I will say, I mentioned that the AirPods, I felt like it was harder for the tap functionality to work. These ones, it's almost too easy. Like if you kind of just lightly brush it, sometimes it will like activate Siri, or it would pause. So you kind of have to start being aware not to like touch your face, because these can get easily bumped, or if you take it out, you might accidentally press it. So these are they're definitely more sensitive, but I kind of prefer that because I know when I'm tapping at my ears, it's actually going to do what I want it to do. Whereas these, I'm sitting there just constantly tapping my ear, and it kind of looks a little silly. Okay, so overall, I mean, I think for the price, I'm a little like budget conscious. So I don't think I'd be spending $200 US on these AirPods, especially because they don't fit my ears to a degree where I wouldn't be always afraid I was going to lose them. The Anker ones, I mean, $80 is like less than half the price, or half if you're getting the non-wireless, which is probably a better comparison because this one is not a wireless charger. So half the price. And I think they do just as well. They maybe don't look as cool. They don't have that, like, you know, accelerometer telling that you're taking it out so it's pausing, but I didn't find that to be essential. And I mean, yeah, I'm obviously not wearing AirPods, but some people are going to think these are the black ones and that you're cool. So for half the price, I would definitely get these. I think the sound was good. I didn't have any issues with connectivity. I like the earbuds better because I know they're going to stay in my ears. And, you know, the case is fine. I'm not too worried about having a slightly fancier case or plugging in the case. So that's my choice. But you can let me know in the comments if you'd pick the same thing or if you're more the die-hard Apple fan for the AirPod. Yeah, that's my review. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope it was helpful. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for a ton more reviews. We'll see you in the next video.